Hello, good morning. It seemed like I ain't been here like all day. I was so busy yesterday. Oh my God, yesterday was such a hectic day. Hello, good morning. This is High Priestess Jamila. And I've been up for a couple of hours now and I'm about ready to get a little bit of rest, but I wanted to come and talk about the alchemy, the alchemy of patriarchy and why this will always fail women and men essentially. It'll always cause failure, and that's why it's kind of good to sort of take a step back and sort of separate yourself from the world, and just take a look at things and just keep it real about it. So the actual alchemy, and a lot of people get confused with deities. Okay, when we talk about patriarchy and the matriarchy, none of those things actually exist when it comes to our deities and our gods. So, like for example, I was doing some work with Zeus. Because Zeus is who? The god of Jupiter. And I'm doing a group thing for my Halloween circle. But Zeus is not patriarchal. That's the one thing that you have to be careful when you're reading about deities, especially the male ones. You have to consider who gave you that information sometimes, and I think that it does have to go by experience. Okay, I feel like sometimes you have to have a certain experience with those deities. I think that it's more so planetarial, like people, like anybody can harvest the energy from the sun. Anybody can harvest the energy from the moon. Anybody can harvest or harness the energy from Jupiter, but that doesn't mean that that particular god of that planet uh was okay with that. So we, first of all, that's a huge issue. But when it comes to patriarchy, patriarchy is always going to kill, destroy, and it's never going to serve women. And really, at the end of the day, it doesn't serve men, actually, because that's why we have so many miserable men walking around this earth. So the alchemy of patriarchy is what I want to get into, though. It is where you connect with something that says that you're weak, that you are the weaker component, which means that you are essentially giving your power to that particular thing. And, I see women using patriarchy a lot, hiding behind patriarchy, and they don't even have to. This is what essentially causes the troubles and the problems that you're having, because patriarchy is not even serving men. It's not serving them, and it's not just about them being happy, but it's about the torment that they feel when it comes to patriarchy. So it's basically, it's it's essentially canceling yourself out, is basically what the alchemy is about it. And it would be the same thing if men were to be matriarchal. It would do the same thing to them. And people get it confused because they try to involve it with romantic love, and it's not involved with romantic love. It has nothing to do with it, you know. So for example, an example of patriarchy would be, and I'm gonna give a personal example just of me. Um, This is one of the reasons why, in my consciousness and the way that my mind works, is that, no matter what, because I had my own experience dealing with males in social media who were essentially patriarchal, even though they were kind of ignorant sometimes and didn't make any sense. And, you know, they were still patriarchal. And they felt like, no, you need me to validate you. You need to, not even that you need me to validate you, but you need for me to act good towards you and to do what you tell me to do and to cooperate with you in order for you to be validated. And these were strange men that I didn't even know. What I did simply was I didn't give those men power over me. Why would you? I mean, it doesn't matter. Even if they don't have power over you, why would you give them that kind of power over you to where you feel as though they can actually make you a victim? And especially when you're trying to make them, when and so a lot of these males that a lot of men, they feel as though they have power over women. This has nothing to do with romantic love. It has nothing to do with love at all. That's not love. You can't even have a love relationship with a man that feels that way. And when you think about it, he's also weak. So not only that, you're allowing a weak man to dominate you, which weakens you even more. So the alchemy of patriarchy is failure. It's essentially failure, and it has and will always fail this society. It will, because what happens is that the ego kicks in, and then that's when you start having people slip through the cracks. Okay, patriarchy is all about control and dominance and ego. It's not about survival. It's all about control and dominance. And you can't have or be successful. The world is not going to survive that. That's death magic within itself on both sides of the coin. Because from either side, if men continue to try to weaken the woman, and if women continue to try to weaken the man, that disconnects us totally. You shouldn't be in a situation to where you should not be. Unfortunately, a lot of us are in situations to where we do have to weaken a man. I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with somebody like that. I would never do that. And then I would never want to be with like a patriarchal type of diabolical male. I just, they're weak. They're weak. They're not strong as what they claim to be, because they need to dominate over you for esteem. They need it for validation. Why would you need that for validation? And it goes so far sometimes to where some of these men will murder women. They will go that far to control. And it's all about control. And then that's when it turns into, it doesn't even matter what the law is. Because I just had a male basically break the law against me yesterday. It just happened yesterday. And for some reason, he thought that he was justified in doing so, but that was because of his ego. And this is not nobody in my personal life. This is involving business. Okay. It's a lose-lose situation for everybody, which is why there's a lot of people, especially when it comes to relationships, because people keep bringing patriarchy into relationships and it completely destroys the family unit. It's nothing wrong with a man working and taking care of his family, but that doesn't have anything to do with patriarchy. That's simple. The simple equation for that would be to make sure that your seeds grow and are nurtured. That has nothing to do with patriarchy, which is another made up indoctrinated belief. Because if there ever came a time where the woman had to step in and either help or take care of the family, and then what is he going to do? He's going to let his family starve to death because he's not the one doing it. So it's totally something that society needs to get away from. And yesterday I also dealt with a patriarchal female. She really was, she didn't realize that, she was being a control freak, and whenever you do that, this is when karma comes into play, because it's not supposed to be like that. So when you practice patriarchy, you're going to consistently be punished. This is the reason why this God that was created by man is constantly punishing them. When in reality, it's their reflection of self. They're just punishing themselves. It'll never work for the woman, and it really ain't gonna never work for men when it's all said and done. Because it promotes imbalances and everything. It's pretty bad. And if you give somebody that kind of power over you to where, it, you know, that's just like some of these males in social media. I don't give a damn about them. I'll put them in a jar and forget about them if I feel that they're a problem, or I'll bind them. I don't care about what you're talking about. You don't have anything to do with me. And you could tell that patriarchy was a real problem because you had men that were trying to make decisions and decide for women, complete strangers online, that they don't even know, making decisions, trying to do things like that. And it's like a person only has the power that you give to them. You give them that power. Stop giving people your power. You hold on to every word and there's a lot of men in this world that are not patriarchal, and no, they're not all gay, but for some reason a lot of women flock towards, or they hold on to every word that a patriarchal man says. They hold on to every word that he says. Why don't you pay attention to males that are not like that? Because I guess that's because that's the only relationship that a lot of women have with men, is being the victim. Either being the victim, okay, or that's the only thing that they know that is masculine, is somebody victimizing them. This is why I stay away from men that have a tendency to victimize, try to victimize me. I don't allow myself to be a victim. I refuse. If a man behaves that way, he has no he's literally, he doesn't exist to me. When a man behaves that way, he doesn't exist. When you stop allowing men like that to exist, they have no power. And we can invert that when it comes to men. Men could say the same thing about a woman. A man can't force you and say, oh, well, this is what you are, that's when you're being dominated, and nobody should be getting dominated to that perspective, because it's not doing anybody any good. It, none of the indoctrinated beliefs or even the control systems or the systematic control that exists in this world does anybody any good. If somebody forced everybody to be healthy, if somebody forced everybody to be happy and abundant, then hell, that would be nice. But they're forcing you in the opposite way because they want competition with you. A man that is competing with a woman is a patriarchal man, and he's weak. But women continue to empower them. Why? Why do you empower that aspect of a man? Because what do you like being a victim? Stop empowering them then. So when you think about the alchemy of a woman, and when you actually look at the alchemy of a man, patriarchy goes completely and totally against nature to begin with, because patriarchy says you are the woman and you are weaker than me. That's all it says. So that does what? That puts us in constant survival mode. It's constant. Oh my God. And how do you break free from that? I can't say. We have a lot of women running around here that would rather do each other wrong than actually look at themselves and see, how are you relating to these energies? Do you even know? Do you even realize how you're just creating these struggles for yourself? If I could go back and do it over again, I would have never, ever, ever said one word to any man in opposition of him. I would have just done my work. I don't care anything about what they're saying, because they stand in super ego and patriarchy and their masculinity, which has to destroy them. It's destroyed them anyway, to the point where they will get rid of their children or become deadbeat fathers just because they want to be in control. Like, I was looking at a story about a man that murdered his wife and his children, and he was going around saying that stupid ignorant statement. This is the reason why I hide out from the world most of the time. I brought you into this world and I can take you out. I can't stand that ignorant statement, and I would never say that to my children. This is total dysfunction as a human being. And we look at dogs and cats that give birth to their children, and if they give birth and they do harm to their children, and we're looking at them like, and we're trying to save the animals, right? We're like, something's wrong with this animal. Oh my God, it's rabid. It's something wrong with it. Same thing when it comes to the human animal. Sometimes people start malfunctioning. It's like a malfunction in their, in their system. It's like, really? And the malfunction is coming from these indoctrinated beliefs, and the systemic programming that is in people. It's sad. And they'll say one thing and they'll do others. They'll even create laws and not abide by them. I just had that happen to me yesterday. I've been having it happen to me for the past several months. Laws being set by men, that men, because of their own ego, they don't want to follow those laws, and they will try to skate away from those laws by any means necessary. But the laws were created for a reason. You know, they do. They do. Ashley, I could, oh my God. Yes, they do. It's you said what's wrong with people in the world today. What's wrong with people in the world today is that they're in a psychosis to where they just want to either win, get over, control, or dominate or judge. And it's totally ridiculous. And a lot of people will slip through the cracks because of that. And you got to make sure that you don't. You got to make sure that you don't slip through the cracks, because you will, and it's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to deal with. How many candles I got lit? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, 11. I have 11 flames going right now. This is sad. It's sick that we have to go through all of this. It shouldn't even. Thank God the earth is very abundant and we have resources, and to fight against it, because it's totally disgusting. It's totally disgusting. And also when you're dealing with business arrangements too. That's why I always let my clients know that, because here these days it's almost like people have lost their mind, Ashley. You're doing business with someone, and a lot of people will do bad business. I'm dealing with people doing bad business right now. I can't go into detail because of legal reasons, but and I may not ever go into detail, but I'm dealing with right now a business, an entity that did all kinds of stuff to me, you know what I'm saying? And literally it's because of discrimination, it's because I'm a woman, it's because they're trying to take advantage of me. It's sick. And if you recognize that, you have to be the one to say, hold on, wait a minute. And see, for me as a woman, I don't accept any of the laws of patriarchy, because if you accept some of it, you have to accept all of it, which is the good and the bad. When and a lot of women don't realize, okay, when patriarchy suits you, it's okay, but when patriarchy starts to hurt you, now all of a sudden there's a problem. But it's okay to use patriarchy when it suits you, and you shouldn't use it at all. What's wrong with just living? This is one of the reasons why I don't have very many friends. I keep my circle very small. That I would like to meet more friends, you know what I'm saying, or have more, but everybody isn't like-minded. They aren't. And so and that's why I don't give males power over me in that context. Especially when it comes to work related issues, I'm not giving no man no power over me, because once you do that, you realize it's not cute. And women like me, they see us as loners or lonely, and and we're not getting with the program. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So that's why I wanted to boycott. I not really boycott, but I was leaving YouTube for a couple of days. But Spirit does this. Immediately when I said I was leaving, I began to get attacked. I'm not going to go into detail, by a patriarchal woman who was bigging up a ignorant patriarchal male who, in my opinion, should be disposed of. And really, if the chaos that you are causing, it has no method and it has no purpose, then to me, you become disposable. Now, if you got to rattle some chains for a reason, then hey, I understand that. But most people don't even know the correct rattles to chain to you know what I'm saying? They don't even know the correct chains to rattle. I said rattles to chain. They trying to rattle my chains and I'm like, no, hun. That's why yesterday y'all noticed the live that I did. I don't have nothing to do with that ignorance. Leave me out of that. Don't send it to me. Don't involve me. I warned all of these women. I did. I warned them. You can have great relationships with men. You don't have to be up underneath a man. Why can't they stand there equally? They're both valuable. So that's why I don't do it. I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want nothing to do with none of that ignorance. That's why I said it yesterday and people didn't really like it. So what? You see what happens when you give some, when that's why I don't come on here and talk about the harassment or the stalking. Because for some reason, what I realized is that when you talk about it and you discuss it, they somehow are feeding off of that. And it's pretty disgusting. That's why I always make sure that I take my power back, even when I do discuss it. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And when you look at the world and you look around and you realize what's happening is that men are on the attack to put women up underneath them. They are. You can be in a courtroom and you'll be sitting there and a man will talk to you like you are lower than scum and you're a low life. But when he sees a man walk in, he's smiling and grinning, and we are in. I wouldn't say end times to where the world is going to end, but it's a fluctuation that's happening right now, where I can promise you, because it created that misogyny. It did. And then a lot of the religion did that too, and a lot of these religions were based above men. I refuse to allow a man to speak for God to me. You can't speak for God. The day I allow a male or a woman to speak for God to me, when I know what's going on in this world and how corrupt it is and how disgusting people are being and acting, not even following and abiding by the laws that are supposed to protect, these laws were created to protect vulnerable people like myself and my children. And they are blatantly in our faces not following those laws while being investigated, while under investigation, because they can't do that. I refuse to. You can't speak for God. Okay, God said never suffer a witch to live. You can't speak for God to me. Sorry, I'm not going to let you do it. Okay. When you allow people to speak for God to you, then people will have the ability to kill you. They can murder you. And you can't adapt to it and say, oh, I'm going to go over here and be patriarchal for a little while because I think it's going to suit me at this moment. And it doesn't, because there's some people that know the alchemy of all of that and they know how to make this universe work for them. Now, the sun is universal. The sun has nothing to do with gender. We can call it masculine energy, but neither does the moon. Okay. That those are, I hate to say this, but in reality, all of these planets and everything around us is universal. It's not just, oh, this is masculine and this is for me and it's not for you. But everybody benefits from the sun because the sun gives us warmth. The sun powers our homes. The sun powers this planet. So none of it is making any sense. And you know, I completely dismiss patriarchy because I experienced it just recently, and it was a diabolical, controlling male that should not be in the position that he is in at all. I had to file a complaint against this man. I sure did. I had no choice because I was like, wow, you know, you're just gonna you just gonna make up your own rules as you go along, and that ain't the way that the laws work. You know, that ain't the way that the world works, and it can be very scary for us women. And then I think that it's sick whenever women go against each other, because guess what? That man that you went against me for is gonna mess you over too. There's nothing wrong with demanding your respect as a woman from these men. It's nothing wrong with that, you know. But when you go along with them while they're weak, you're weak. Okay, so we can sit up here and say whatever we want to say as women, but at the end of the day, you know, that's not going to sustain you. It's not going to sustain you. It's not good. And now I will tell you that the one thing is that I believe that all of us had to come from some kind of divine feminine. That's the one thing. And I think that men that are sick, that are dysfunctional, can't stand that. And so what are they doing? They're punishing us and our children that we gave birth to. They just don't care. They're very ruthless. Okay. And the whole story of Lilith, all of it has been male washed. Let's put it like that. Lilith, her symbolism is the divine feminine mother that gave birth to all. And so, you know, the whole story with Adam and Eve and blah 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 and Adam and Lilith, that's inconsequential. The point is that she represents the divine feminine that these males, these patriarchal males, are trying to murder. They're trying to get rid of us or and our children. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, and it's happening everywhere, and people are really really distracted every day. Hundreds of videos are going up talking about how men are utterly possessed by this you know, man-made indoctrination, and murdering women, murdering children. They do it in a lot of different types of ways. If they're not trying to murder you, they're trying to take your power. They're trying to suck you dry. They're very vampiric. And I'm not saying that that's all of them, but I'm saying that they, you know, it's a lot of them. It is, and it's a huge problem. The way I look at, you know, at, except for my sons, you know, my those are my children. But when it comes to men out here in this world, men that you have to do business with, for the most part, they are going to try to screw you over. For the most part, they're going to screw you over. They are, unless you have things put into place where that is not happening to you, or if they're trying you, that it doesn't work. A lot of us, the reason why we're being harmed essentially is because we're dealing with the primitive male, the unevolved male, who probably is having some kind of past life regression, you know, connecting back when to a time when, you know, they had women essentially in chains, and to the point where now we're living in a society to where women without a husband are disposable to them, and they don't love us, they don't like us because of that. And it's sick. It's a sickness that's going to destroy them. Now, it's took down a lot of different women. It has, because they're not aware of it. They just accept it. I refuse to accept that. I do. I always have. Because it's all about their ego trip. It's all about their ego trip. Okay. And it just, it's really sad. So I wish all of you women the best of luck. I mean, you got to change the way that you look at stuff like that. You got to change the way you think about things like that. And that's the reason why. And it's terrible because it trickles down. It really does. And it's trickling down. It is. I can honestly say that like I said, I have 11 flames going over here because I had to do a huge ritual because, you know, males that you have to deal with, males that you're doing business with, males that they are attacking. And it's because of their hatred for the woman. Okay, the alchemy of patriarchy is hate for the woman. It will always be that way. That patriarchal male will always be one of your biggest haters because he's wanting to look at you and say, I asserted that male dominance over you and I did this to you. I made you a victim. That's why they choose certain fields to go into because they want power and they want control. It's sick. And you have to damn near force women to stop allowing that and accepting that and accepting this struggle that they are creating. They're creating the struggle. Creating all this stuff, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. Hey, how about you do this? How about you send each person, 5 or $10,000? You can do it. They have the capability of doing it. They can send it right to your bank account. Why won't they do it? Because they're playing a sick game. It's sick. So, and I think that spirit is essentially doing something about it. I will tell you, but I think that if you are, extremely connected and codependent on that patriarchy, you're just going to be flipped around, blown around in the wind, wherever, you go from one prison to the next prison. You go from one trap to the next trap, especially if you're a witch. They want to trap you. If you are a witch, because I think that a lot of us witches, what we have is inside of us is not just external. They literally will trap you just so that they can bleed you dry. So if you're a witch, you especially got to be careful because that's why you having those issues because they want to feed off of you. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. I don't know how they become that way. I've always recognized, the vampiric beings that are in the church and in other areas. It's really, really, really sad. And the crazy part about it is that they don't even have to do what they're doing. They don't have to do that. And these days, they don't even want to follow their own laws. You have to remind them of what the law is. Hey, do you know that what you just said was illegal? Hey, did you know that what you did was illegal? And these are people in the in these are these are people that are supposed to be following the law. You gotta, I mean, it's ridiculous. Abusing power, more than likely, they're not going to abuse their power over a male. They're going to do it to a woman. They're going to do it to a woman. Now power does get abused against men. Unfortunately, you'd have to break that down case by case. But I'd say that at least for me, the past several months, several years I've been dealing with, and a patriarchal man, he can be a low life, he can be a deadbeat. They will still support him because they feel that you are the woman and you're shit and you done gave birth to these kids, you done shitted out these kids that they now got to be burdened by. See, for women, it's very easy to nurture our children. It's very easy for us. For men, it's a burden for them. Why? I don't know. They rather destroy the burden. So it just it's really crazy, you know. And I've been going through it. I've been going through it, and you know, I'm dealing with some really crazy stuff right now, to the point where, you know, I can't even really talk about it, but it's just crazy the way they will destroy their own property just to harm a woman. It's just sad, very sad. Okay. So, you know, that's just what that is. Anyway, y'all, I just wanted to come with this quick message. I'm staying out of this energy. I got things that I got to work on. I can't be involved with it. Well, first of all, there's a lot of struggle on YouTube because too many women are trying to control a patriarchal man. Walk away. What are you doing? Why won't you just walk away from that crazy man? Just walk away from him. Do what you got to do, but walk away from them. Don't let them take your power. So a lot of that is going on, and I refuse to join in with some stuff that means absolutely zip zilch to me. It doesn't matter if I feel that that person is doing something to harm me. I'm gonna do my work, and I'm gonna lay down and I'm gonna relax. Period. I'm not gonna sit up here and go through all of that. So, you know, people are making it harder on themselves, but I can tell you that these patriarchal males, they are going to do it very easily unless you make it hard for them. You have to make it harder for them. And that's what we've get. It's definitely a battle of the sexes. I will remain on the side of the divine feminine, which is me. So that's why if it's a female that don't get along with me, I'm like, hey, listen, I'm gonna say what I have to say to you, but I'm gonna leave you be and do my work on you, because the enemy that we have to deal with is hiding behind that. So I'm not gonna do it. This stupid, silly game that men as a whole are playing with us, it's unacceptable, and we shouldn't be standing for it. None of us. But women have jealousies and problems with one another and craziness with each other. And it's like, I'm sorry, I just can't do that. You know, if you're a woman like that, more than likely, you're not going to survive this. You know, they're trying to really take away your freedom and your choices here. You know, oh, you gonna do this. Oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm not gonna do it. I don't have to be associated with you. No, I'm not. I am not associated with you. They're gonna force you to be associated with them. Well, I'm not. Don't matter what you did. There's no cord. There's no cord. There's no strings. Goodbye. And I take all my power back. Thank you very much. He'll probably wake up in the morning, lips all dry and cracked up. Yep, I'm taking back. I'll take that back. Thank you. Validation plays a role in that as well, but nobody should have to validate anybody. That doesn't even make any sense to me. I never did understand that validation thing. So what are you, an invalid? You somebody has to validate you. And when it comes to relationships and friendships, those are about genuine compassion and love. I would never be involved with somebody just simply for validation or because I need somebody to, I wouldn't do that because, it puts you in a place of weakness. It does. So I don't know, and people should be able to get along in the world without that. And I'm just, I'm sovereign from that. I'm sorry. I just, I don't have time for that. Especially when I recognize that I'm dealing with any male in any situation, any woman in any situation that is, doing that. It's horrible. It's stupid. And especially when a man is not at a position of power, you got to save that for the for the people that are at a position of power. Somebody that's in a powerful position can really hurt you. They can really, really do things to hurt you if they are actually in a powerful position against you. And if you don't pay attention, it can ruin your life, and then they'll just go all off somewhere. And next thing you know, you don't even had no money to file no lawsuit against that person. You struggling, and they done took everything from you and will try to set you up. That's one of the reasons why I'm striving to buy a home. I'm gonna say this to all women that are renting, especially if a male is involved in any of it. Be careful. Be careful. It's almost like a trap. Like they bring their personal vendettas against women into the workplace, and they're very unprofessional, very unprofessional, very. Then you got to be careful of them doing work on you. Got to be careful of people that you're doing business with doing spiritual work on you to try to hurt you, to just because or either trying to feed off of you, energetically. Sick. It is. It's sick. And a lot of people just don't know. Like when I look at this world and I look at the people that don't know, like it's some people that just really don't know. I know, and I'm more aware of it now than ever as far as what's going on. And people will use you, they will suck you dry, and they will blow you to the wind if you let them. Ain't gonna happen to me. Okay. All right, y'all. I will see y'all later. Y'all have a good one. Have a happy, what's the day? Thursday. Yep, today is Thursday. I will see you guys later. Okay. Blessings. Bye.